events now. That was your first page, isn't it? Index page. So when I go here and I say server behavior plus, I'm going to go, what option am I going to go for? I'm going to go for a record set. Now when I say record set, it will ask me, are you going to call this answer or this bundle which you're going to get with any name? That's your record set name. You can leave it as a default, which will automatically be record set 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how many record sets do you have on a page. Otherwise, every page will start with record set 1. Yeah. Here it says what connection name, so it's automatically inclusive, including that details. Here it is what table, so I want events table. Now there are two things. Do you want all fields in events table or do you want selected fields in events? That's one thing to ask, judge. And the second thing is, do you want all records or you want selected records? If I want selected fields, I can choose selected fields. If I want selected records, then I have to go by filter. Filter is your condition. Yeah. Now your condition could be that I remember the field, like if email is equal to this or city is equal to this or whatever your condition is. So what's your field name? So that's your field name. So you are saying status is equal to or contains or less than or greater than whatever your condition is. So it's equal to. Now here it allows you to choose so many options and they are only relevant if it depends on something else. Now if my value which I'm going to check again comes from a form, from another form, then it can be a form variable. If it is coming from another page, it could be a URL parameter. Or you're saying, no, whatever I'm saying you to look for, just look for that. Right? Now that is your entered value. Entered value means whatever I've written in this box. If I say URL parameter, then that means that name of that variable which is going to come to you is this name of the variable. Right? So here it's entered value and the entered value is show. Right? Now as soon as you click on OK, this has created a bundle of that result. Right? But how do you want that result on your page? You only want to see one record of that bundle? You want to see all the records of that bundle? What is your choice? The result is there, but how do you want to see it? Right? Now Dreamweaver gives you a tool that you want. I can create a table for you immediately. So I will do an HTML for you. I'll create that table for you, and I will also make sure that all the records are shown. That's what dynamic table is. So if you go insert here on your page and you say data object, dynamic data, and you say dynamic table, it just asks you, I'm making this table from which record set, right? So I said record set 1. Now what happens is that if you click this option first and there is no record set, it adds on the condition with it. It can give you a button to say create a record set now. Do you understand? That's what happens. Either you go make a record set first and do this, or you can enter from whichever way. Both the options are going to be valid. So here I just say all, right? And what it does is creates a table and arranges them in the table format automatically for you. Is that right? But it has asked you, now if you look at this, it asks you, it's going to create a table, so that means it will automatically count how many fields were there. Is that right? And it asks you, do you want to see all the records or not? And you said all. So that means it's going to go through the first record, go to the second, third, fourth. There's a mechanism which it has followed to go from a first record to this last record. And where is that mechanism? Just repeat. Whatever. When you see the code, this is PHP and do. Now do is a loop. Do is a loop which is do this, and I'll explain that to you as well. What does that mean? Now here it says do, and all you see is echo. Is that right? Do this, that means display this, right? Do this, do this, do this, do this, right? And it says here, and then can you see this TR is a part of that do? That means creating a row is a part of that, right? And it's here, and here it says while, that means do this till this, right? Repeat this until this. That's what it means. As there are records. Now I'll explain that. Now what is happening is that whole bundle was called as Recordset 1. And if you look at that Recordset, the cursor is always, it's like going through an Excel sheet. Your cursor is at the first cell, right? And when you say, when it displays echo title, it goes to the second cell, third cell, fourth cell, fifth cell, number of fields over. Now you need to jump to the next line, right? And this line is row, you know, your record set was called as record set 1. But can you see this variable is called what? It's called row. That means only one single row. We are only at that one single row at wherever we are, whatever number we are at. And what it is doing is my SQL fetch. What it means is go to the next line of the record set. Go to the next line. The pointer is at the first line. Go to the next line of the record set. And it will keep going till the record set does not have any record. So it just keeps going again and again till it meets nothing. Does that make sense? So it is displaying this, and that table has been created. But let's say if you wanted them to be arranged yourself, let's say in a div, not in a table, then how do I get this individual field? And how do I do a repeat feature? I will have to still do it, isn't it? To see all the records. Do you understand? If I don't do a dynamic table and I want to do a div, now either one thing is I do this and I replace these, is that right? And do you understand? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One way is that you create a table and get rid of this series and replace that with your table. That's a long way, right? Otherwise, what I would be doing, I would be going to bindings, and I can see all the fields here. Can't I? So if I drag them on my page, it does an echo command automatically. So wherever I drag them on my page, computer thinks it needs to be displayed there, right? And if you've noticed that when I did the dynamic table, it added another server behavior which you never added, which is called repeat region. Is that right? And all these lines have got added automatically. Now, if you would have dragged them, they would have still come. And if you would have done record set and plus and repeat region yourself, they would have still come. Do you understand? So, the idea is up to you, whether you want to use a table and modify it, or just make a record set and drag and select all of them and do a repeat region, it's still okay. Okay. This repeat region, I'm going to do here. I've not done a dynamic, right? So, at the moment, I'm just going to show you this, how this page looks. And explode it. That's your events list. That's the table which is done, right? Now, if I go here and I will not do it from the same table. Let me just do another record set. And because I want you to be able to see the difference. I'm going to do it from user table. Is that okay? Or do you want me to do it from menus table? Whatever. They're not necessary. I'm just doing it to show you, right? So, okay. Now there's another record set, which is record set 2. Is that right? Now this time, I'm going to do bindings, and I'm gonna say um, Recordset 2, let's say VIT, venue name, venue, um, and venue. Yep. So I've done so I've arranged them like this. Yeah. I've dragged them from here. VID, name, postcode, and address. I've dragged them here. Now, when I see this page, save, and I go back and if you only see the first record, don't see any more records, right? The reason because you don't see any more records is because the cursor or the pointer, when you fetch result from the database, the pointer is only at the first record. It will not go to the next record until I ask it to go and show me that again, right? So what I need to do is I need to highlight this, and I move this. I need to highlight this, and I need to go on my server behavior again, plus, and I say repeat region, and I say how many records do you want? I want all. I can go okay, and sorry, repeat 2. The record set is 2. Click on okay, and now I could have done can you see that whole block will get repeated? Is that right? So if I just do a save and I do a refresh, the number of records are there are a number of records, right? Now this one, when you do dynamic table, it does that for you. It does everything for you in one single step. But in this, you do it yourself. Now, obviously, this is better. The reason for that is because in an ideal situation, you might have a design where you know how you want to display things. You want image at a certain place. You want title at a certain place. So what you're going to do is you will drag things where you want them, and then you will capture the main container of yours, and then you will do a repeat region. Does it make sense? So that's what I'm saying, that instead of making this and going into a table and deleting that, I would want my I want my design there first. You want your design there first. You know where your locations are. You can drag what information you want wherever, and then you select your main container and you will do a repeat. And make sure that all of them are held. That's the main container. No, that's a repeat thing which you want. That is there. So, but then these are just two different methods of doing the same thing. Either you do it through dynamic table or you do it yourself. But what I'm saying is you will always be able to see what fields are there in your record set to binding, and but you know what filter have you put in. So but the only problem now is that if I want to increase this filter, I had the status show. So if you want to add another condition, the simple window does not allow that. You will have to go in and to put a second condition if you want to do that. Right. Can I just ask, if you just get it to show one photo, can you make it go to the next? Say you've got a beautiful web page and you've got these are my events. Can you have like the next one so that it will lead you to go to the next? You wouldn't know which is your second. Yeah, because you will go, you just have to go next. So,
They've got, what's it called,
paging.
Yeah.
When you know where it says how many records do you want to show? You can say 2. So what will happen is only 2 records would show on a page. So when you put in there, obviously it requires a bit more programming. It needs an intervention, a PhD, because you'll have to make pages.
No, it will be a bit random. No, it will start with your first record.
And the first 2.
The table changes.
Usually
At the beginning or
at the end. Usually things get added to the end, or they go by ID. Yeah? But they will be first 2. I mean again, don't take me wrong, it depends on whether you have on this record set, did you order by?
Yeah, we have a filter on or...
Do you understand? If you have an order by date, then I don't care how they have gone in a database, it's going by date. So yes, then the first 2 pages will have different information, maybe when somebody comes next time. Does that make sense? But that concept is called as paging. I wouldn't want you to go into that yet. But paging is done, can be done, where you must have seen that on latest websites where they only show you 10 records and they say, the hyperlinks come at the bottom.
That's the next one.
Next one, or they say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which we do, which I think is in a Dreamweaver it does allow you that, but Dreamweaver is not what do you call it? Quality checked on that. It doesn't do it without you knowing PHP. It has the option, but it doesn't work if you make it. You have to make alterations into PHP when it works. If you look at plus, can you see here? Record set paging. Move to first page, move to second page, move to next page. It does that. Yeah, that's on your data here, and it's the same here, like. So you just have to insert. But I will only go into this stage when you've understood Recordset completely well. The reason for that is because when you say next page, it is not going anywhere. It's staying on the same page, but the URL parameter you pass. It passes URL parameter to itself, saying page number 2, page number 3, and page number 4. And how does it do it? Because when you say paging is always done on the basis of, when I said repeat region, it asks me how many records to show. Is that right? And I said all. So if you say 10, or if you say 5, or if you say 3, then remember that while loop, which we saw do while, but that at the moment the status is do while till the end. And then the status will change within that, do counting 1 to 3. So that's why you only see 3. And then you have to go to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then, does that make sense? So it's a mathematical total number of records. Divide, if you said 3 records on one page, it will divide it by 3, and that's how it will see your pages. Does that? Do you understand? Yeah? No. So it works, but sometimes Dreamweaver does give you a glitch. You should just know how to correct it. But I will not ask you guys to go to that stage yet because I think you're still within your record set only. So until we've cleared that out, right? So is this clear? So this is your record. So that's your first page with record set, right? And this is the reason if I make any changes here, I only put hyperlink once. It does that 10 times because of all the records. I only do, if I'm going to make a hyperlink on anything, it does it only once. Now, the next page was what? What was our next page? The event details page, right? The next page was our event details page. Now, what was the purpose of having an event detail page? That if the person could go into further details of that specific event. Now on this page I've already given him the details, but what we did was we deleted everything, isn't it? We deleted the description from this. We deleted the venue ID, we deleted the status because there was no need to show that on the page. On this page, we only showed the title and the date and the image so that the person sees what that event is about. Now what you want is that when he clicks on the title, it takes you to another page with more details and also shows you the venue details. But that page is still a I'm fetching information or I am inserting information. Fetching. So save, file, new, and if I do a PHP page and I say file, save as, events, details, .php, then I am still making a record set, and my record set is still going to be from events page. Is that right? Yeah? So when I'm doing my events page now, but you are saying it is going to show me a specific event. Is that right? And how do I know which event? Now you have to decide that what is that specific thing which you want to show, right? So I could now I know that on my table event ID is something which is unique, and if I give that information to my table, it will only give me one record. You're 100% on that, isn't it? It will not give you 2 records. It will not give you more records. It will only give you 1 record for that ID, right? So you are saying you want to see information about the specific event, and that means the filter should be event ID. It should be equal to. Now where is that event ID coming to you? Who is giving you that event ID? From the index page, because I want the person to click, right? Now because it is going to come from the previous page, that's why we are calling it as a URL parameter. And what are you going to call that variable name? Are you going to call it EID? You want to call it E? You want to call it, what do you want to call it? You can call it event. I mean, it doesn't matter what you call it, but you should know what have you called. Yeah? Because this event ID is the field name, and you are saying this is going to be equal to either E1 or E2 or E3, but the name of that variable while it travels is going to be called as event. At the moment I've just changed it. I know when we did it previously we did it as EID. I've just changed it because I think you were getting confused why both sides is EID. Right? So event, now when I do this, and I can go to advanced, because I want to fetch venue details along with it. Is that right? So we went into it and we just added a comma here and said venue. We leave this the way it is written and we say and events dot venue ID or venue is equal to venue dot. Okay. If you're not sure what your field names are, you can always open your table names here and just check. Right? So from events table, I want to pick up the venue, and from venues table, I want to pick up the ID. So you're just adding that condition. That doesn't mean that your URL parameter has changed. Your URL parameter is still same. It will give you everything. You delete whatever you want to. It will give you everything. And the name. So you can just change whatever. Because it's a star here, isn't it? So it will give you everything. You choose what you want to display, what you don't want to display. So when I click on OK here, now again, it's up to me whether I want to do dynamic table or I want to drag. Right, so I can go to my bindings, Recordset, you drag where you want everything. So I want EID there. No, I don't want EID. I'll leave it there for the time being. I want the title there. I want description in the next line. I want here. I want the image before the description. I want, don't want this, I want this venue name. And I can even write down anything in between, isn't it? Because it's just going to get repeated. Does it make sense? Venue. And at the moment it would obviously not repeat because there's only going to be one record, but venue. And then you have venue name. You have the address. Your postcode. Is that okay? Yeah. Now, if I save this page and I try to run this run this page, it will not give me any information. The reason because it is not receiving the EID on which it is paged, right? You want to test it. You can test it by giving it a URL parameter yourself. Events is equal to E1. Yeah. So should it give me the? Oh, sorry. No, should be all right. Should be able to give me that. The variable name. It was events, not events. So that's your. First event detail. If I change this value to E5, gives me the details of E5. Is that right? So you're checking your page. But if you run it without any information, it is not going to give you anything because there's no filter. I haven't given in that URL parameter yet. I am giving it a URL parameter by writing it down here. Now, my other page should be able to give me the URL parameter in the same way. Is that right? Do you understand? My URL parameter should be able to give me the information exactly the same way. So what I want is my other page gives me this, isn't it? That should be what it gives. Yeah? So what we do is we go back to our index page and this is my title. Now what do you want clickable? Do you want date to be clickable? Do you want your, what is that you want it to be clickable, right? You want everything to be clickable, you repeat the hyperlink on everything. But whatever you want clickable, you just go there and you're supposed to highlight and just create a link. So if you're not sure where you are supposed to go, just do this first. EventsDetails dot. If you're not sure, you know what you're supposed to do, where to go and write, you want to link title to what page? So I can go here or I can use this to drag, is that right? Just you would do normally. And then you put a question mark at the end and you say event equal. Now event equal, that event is your variable name. Equal is going to be there, but in front of that I want the ID. Is that right? So what I need now, I can go into the code and I can drag my ID from here in front of that equal to. Is that right? Have you followed? I want this information coming up. Where is this information on my index page? This is here. Yeah. So this is what I need to move from here. I don't want to see it here, but I want it. I don't want to see it on the page. I want it to see it in that link. So what I'm suggesting is that what you do is you've made your title a link. You have written down EventsDetails.php there. event equals to needs to be that number, E2 or E1 or E3 or E4. So what you do is, in your code, wherever your equal to is written, this is how it was on your page. This was here. That's how it was. So what I've done is I've dragged my event ID from here in front of that equal to. So if I drag this here, or I copy it, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to copy. Or you're not sure, don't drag it from here. You know this binding? I mean, if you get confused where to get it from or from my page, you know this EID, right? That's what you want in front of that, right? Just drag this now in front of that equals to. So instead of dragging it from somewhere on the page, drag it from here. Drag it from your binding. So what I will get is now all these have become links, and when I look at them, it says event equals E1, event equals E2, event equal E3, and so on. So if I click on any one of them, I see the details. Is that right? And how do I do the images? You do the image. You can do the same thing. If you're confused how to cut, copy, paste, I wouldn't suggest anything. Just go to your design. Just go to your design. You can get rid of this from here. Right? You don't even have to drag it. Where do you want that image to be? Go insert, go image object, and just say placeholder. Right? Placeholder will do what? Will ask you the name. There's no need to give a name. What width do you want this image to be? 200 by 200. Is that right? And if you want to give any alternate text, okay, that's your image. Can you see the source option here? Source option? Yeah. All you do is go back to your code. Wherever that source is equal to, the code has already been written for you, right? Go there and drag your e-image there, or the field which represents it. Just drag it in that source.
That here represents the name of the image.
Yeah, it represents the name of the image. You will have to put a path if there is a path, and which is usually images slash, isn't it? Until unless you've kept the folder name separate. Sometimes people put the path in the database, sometimes people don't put the path in the database. That's the default. How do you want it? I could have here, before writing down source, images slash or event images, whatever images. If I just do event images, because that's the name of the folder, save. Go back to index. So obviously I don't have the images yet, but you can see the images. Is that okay? Are the first two pages clear? Any questions?
I want to display all things.
What do you want in the alt?
You have the column database in the table, and then
Or you can use the event name as a alt.
yeah.
Drag event name in alt. Does it make?
Can you do that?
Yeah. If you wanted, this is your tag. This is your alt, right? Here, drag title. So now what is your title is also the alt for your image. So if I have saved this, saved, yeah, saved it, file, save all, yeah. Because the images are not showing, you see the alt tag. because I don't have the folder in htdocs. I've not copied the folder. My exam events. I just created the table in front of you. It doesn't have my events table does not have images. So there's no images in that. I can get them from web to Dreamweaver activities. Where is the? Is it W2, isn't it? W2 SQL activity event image. Say, right? And now, can I do title? Can I do title? You know, the screen tip. On the images, can I do the screen tip? So title, and again drag your image title again. If you want to do a whole description, you know, then it will be a bigger pop-up kind of a thing. The mouse goes over it, shows you the description. It's up to you. What do you want there? So I could put here title equals, and I can drag my title again. Let me drag description this time. But if you want to have a separate something called as caption, you're more than welcome to have it. Does that make sense? In your database, you're more than welcome to have any more field to do so. Yeah. So your website is, everything is coming from the database only. But again, what you wanted to, what is that you wanted on a title? So, you know, it's up to you, completely up to you. What did you want it on the title? That's your first page. Have you understood it? Have you all understood it? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. That's my design. I want to make this image a link. I want to make this image a link to that event details page. So you highlight it and you say you want to link it to. What do you want to link it to? What page do you want to link it to? The event details. So you choose your event details page. Okay. Right. At the moment, it is not going to take any value with it. Is that right? So if you want to test it, you can test it. So if I just go here and all my images are linked right now, right? They've automatically, because all I've done is just made one link, and because it's a repeat region, they all are linked. I click on this, it will take me to EventsDetails.php, but obviously that is not showing me any results because my image has brought me to event details page, but hasn't brought with it the event ID which this page needs. Is that right? Yeah. What I need to do is, where I have said that go to EventsDetails.php page, I'm supposed to say, take the URL parameter, right? What is your URL parameter? What did you call it in the other page? What did you call it? I called it as event, is that right? Yeah. So event is equals to what? Now event should be equals to event ID, is that right? Which is E1 or E2 or E3 or E4, right? So what I'm saying is when you write this, that's it. You don't have to now go to your code, and where you see this equal to here, is that right? Drag your event ID from here onto that, next to that equal to. So your event becomes event equals E1, event equals E2, event equals E3, event is equal to, depends on which, because there are 5 hyperlinks, so it depends on which one it does click, and that will. So if I go back now here, if I click on this one, this is event is equal to E7, isn't it? So if I click this, that will only show me E7 details. Yeah. If you wanted the whole line to be a hyperlink, then you will have to write down the code yourself. You know, the starting and the ending of a table row. The whole line to be a link, instead of doing separate links. But then it's up to you completely how do you wanted it. Or according to CSS, let's say I wanted to give this image a specific, what do you call it, style. All you have to do is click here and put a class or whatever you have. Does it make sense? As you would do normally on your HTML. If you have your CSS, that doesn't stop you from having a class or ID or whatever. That's exactly the same as you would do on your Dreamweaver page. Is that right? Yeah? Now, are there any more questions? Any more questions? Sure? No, yes. Maybe? What's that maybe? Should I move on to the next? Okay, so these are your first 2 pages, but I don't know. I don't suggest you doing all the steps together. I've never said from the first day that you show your event, do the hyperlink at the same time, add an ID at the same time, and I've not even shown you that in one step, isn't it? I've always asked you that do your simple page first, do your second simple page first, make sure that it works, and then move on to the second stage. But again, if you get confused of going forward and backward, then I don't know whether you want to do it in the first place, isn't it? And everything done in just the first go. Do you understand? I mean, it would depend on how confident you are with you. Sorry?
If we go back, it relates to the same thing. You're going and making the thing, and
it does that, but what I'm saying is, and everybody can think differently and see. They have different ways of dividing their work into tasks. So if you think, okay, I'm going to get very confused if this page is not complete. Does that make sense? Then you just complete that page the way you wanted that to be completed. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is everybody has got a different thought process. Some people work in way that, okay, my first page has to be complete, right? My second page has to be complete. In that case, what is happening? If I was to do, I'm just going to show you this. I went to my server behavior, my record set. I want my events record set. I want my hyperlink, and it should take my ID along with. Like in one go, that's what you want to do because that's how you see it. Do you understand? That's how. Then this is what you should be doing. Then you shouldn't be making a second page first. Then you are assuming you're already pre-planned. What is your second page going to be called? Does it make sense? You know what you're calling your variable. So, like here, like I knew I'm showing information from events table. My filter is status entered value, and that should be show. Yep. Now, as soon as it comes up, you've done insert, whether you've dragged them or you've done a dynamic table, whatever you've done. Yep. Now here, I know I want to make this title a hyperlink. You go here, question mark, I am going to call it E equals, and then I know I need to just go to code. In front of this equal to should come my EID. Here it goes. Yeah. And I know I've finished my page. You understand? And it depends completely up to you. How do you see how your thought process is? I can't really question that. Can't say anything how different people think. I have just shown you in a simple way so that you get some time to grasp what it requires, and I have tried. So my page is complete. Yeah. Here when I'm here, I should have given event images flash the file and save as I2. When I did that, it's a table already. I know this will take me to that page, but then obviously be prepared to see this error message because that page doesn't exist yet. And it's taking that information with it. Is that right? Yeah. Now when you go and make a page which I have said here, file new, and I'm going to here there was Recordset. I am saying I want information from events table and venues table, whatever that query is. Events and your URL parameter now. Now I know I've called it E, isn't it? So EID is equal to URL parameter. And I mean, if you needed to change that SQL statement, you do that. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to. You're not sure here, just come here, click on the events table, venue, where venue table. Yeah. Click on OK. Insert data object, dynamic data table, all file, save as save. Go back here. Yeah. So wherever you click, you know you're gonna go to that page. So how do you like it? How do you want to complete it? That's up to you. Whether you want to do in basic functionality and go and change it, or you have understood that and you want to make that changes in the first place. That's completely up to you. Yeah. That's your first two pages. In both these pages, we just did Recordset. Is that right? And then we modified the code. Yeah. Now we're going to do a registration page or a booking page, then in a book page, I'm going to capture the person's username and email address. Now for that, I need a form. And when you're going to do a form, you will always either do out of three things. Either you will do insert, or you will do delete, or you will do a update. There's nothing more you will do when you're creating a form. Is that okay? You want to take a break? Everybody's looking at a, yeah, please and go. Whatever time is it,